Hey, this is The Rising 2019 from August 26th to September 17th. We are at Costa del Sol and we are at 3626. It's right by where the Moonfire Festival was. And here is Message in a Bottle, level 30. You're going to get an Ishtola minion. It's called Message in a Bottle. It's kind of cool. It's got like a little card here. Well, if it isn't the shining star who set so many hearts aflame with her high-flying feats at the Moonfire Fair, thanks in no small part to your contributions, we were able to close the curtain on this year's festivities in style. That did close yesterday. Though the revelry and rejoicing may have ended, needless to say, there's still plenty of work left to be done. Speaking of which, would you be adverse to lending a fatigued festival attendant a helping hand? While we are favored with spectacular crowds again this year, I fear that comes with an unfortunate after effect, which is to say this beautiful beach remains cluttered with an unsightly amount of rubbish and refuse, much more so than I could ever hope to gather up on my own. While I realize this is a rather trivial task to impose upon an adventurer of your stature, would you be so kind as to help me tidy up a bit? It really would mean everything to me. Should you find any discarded items, simply return them here to me. I will sort through them and see that they are disposed of in a proper fashion. Let's see. We head south. And we got some rusty fishing rods, paper scrap, empty bottle. Welcome back. I can already see that the beach is looking cleaner for your efforts. I would be happy to take any of the discarded items you picked up off your hands. Your key items. Cutscene. Thank you, friend. We truly appreciate your efforts. After all, it just wouldn't do to launch the celebratory fireworks over a beach littered with jetsam and junk. Well, now, what have we here? This appears to be an ordinary bottle, but is this a letter inside? How curious. Why, I do believe I'll take a closer look. Ne'er to land, heaven spew crimson, seep black dooms, stray seeds, valiant. It's no use, the ink is smudged in so many places, deciphering the letter in full is all but impossible. That said, all this talk of heaven spewing crimson and seeping black dooms, it isn't very pleasant, is it? Wait, I just had a thought. If this is a message, a warning of sorts, intended to keep us forestall an impending calamity. Perhaps I'm overthinking this, but better safe than sorry, wouldn't you say? Why, I've half a mind to take off immediately to investigate further myself. Sadly, I still have another half a beach here to clean. Please, might you be so kind as to look into the letter on my behalf? My friend Bran in Limsa Liminza, he's a veteran reporter for the Venerable Harbor Herald, just happens to be an expert on cryptic poems and prophecies. I'm sure he'd be able to tell you something about it. I'm terribly sorry to burden you with yet another menial task like this, but the fate of the realm may very well be at stake. And wherever this leads, I promise to compensate you properly for your labors. Safe travels, friend. So, to the Ass Castle. As per normal. And I turn my music back on. I don't usually play with the music on. It's a little much sometimes. It's Bran. Something I can do for you, stranger. If you've business with Bran, best state it quickly. This Gaz has leads to follow and incidents to investigate. Hobiano's wondering about this letter, you say. Well, you couldn't have come to a better place. Hand it over, my good woman, and let Bran see what he can't glean for you. There you go. Did Bran know it, or did Bran know it? There's no mistaking these Jacobo scratches. This is the quillmanship of none other than that Roman minstrel of no small repute. As for the content of the letter, well, it's none other than a particularly portentous passage from the 7th verse of the Divine Chronicles, as writ by Messiah Thousand Eyes so many years ago. If you'd care to hear it, old Bran would be happy to perform a dramatic reading of the full words. Ne'er till land consumes sun can see bare moons, heaven spew crimson flame, hell seep black dooms. Stray seeds quicken in ashes' grey embrace, valiant blades forged under the 12's good grace. Pretty ominous, to say the least, no? But I wouldn't be worrying over much. Scholars posit that this was a prophecy foretelling the 7th umbral calamity, which, as we all know, has come and long since gone. And thank the 12 for that. As for why our minstrelling friends saw fit to scribble this down, bottle it, and toss it into the sea, well, why don't you saunter on over to O'Dall and ask the good man himself? After all, with it being the rising and all, it's as good an occasion as any to reflect upon the rebirth of our realm. Speak with the wandering minstrel in Udal. Hello, wandering minstrel. Well met, my friend. Might I interest you in a song? Meh. Oh, an interview with the Harbor Herald, you say? You do this humble minstrel a great honor. I'd be happy to oblige, but be forewarned, there may be matters which I'm not at liberty to divulge. But of course, anything and everything you'd be willing to tell me, and my colleague here, old Brand, would be nothing but appreciative. Well, my friends, I must say this brings me back a ways. I indeed scribed this letter many, many years ago, before the calamity described therein came to pass. With disaster looming nigh, I sojourned in a small farming village, just a stone's throw from Bloodshore, near what is now Costa del Sol, though none called it by that name in those times. I spent night and day penning countless letters identical to this one. I placed each one in a bottle and cast them into the sea in hopes of warning Eorzeans far and wide about the realm's impending doom. Many of my adventurer acquaintances assisted me in the task. To think that one of those letters would find its way to you after so many years. Yes, fate works in mysterious ways. Well, after the fact isn't very helpful. Why, yes, I do believe that my muse stirs within me. If you might indulge me for a moment. Uh-oh. Wow. That's pretty cool. Greetings, warrior of light. You needn't be alarmed. This is a world that exists outside your reality. Could it be a dream? A flight of fancy conjured by your wary mind, perhaps? Or perhaps not. It's a pleasure to welcome you here again, old friend. Or shall I call you the Warrior of Darkness? In any event, it's been quite the adventure we've shared, you and I. Oh, how the years have flown by since I crossed the rift to this world. I trust that your adventures here have yet stirred your heart and nourished your soul. We are still here, just as ever, scribing the events that will go down in the history of this vast realm. A job, of course, that we could not do were it not for your extraordinary exploits. One might even say that, just as you have embarked on your adventures, we have also been on an adventure of our own. Each adventure brings meetings and partings and countless trials that must be overcome. The task is never an easy one, but at journey's end we emerge stronger, more enlightened, and closer to the individuals we want to be. For this reason, and many more, this world we share with you is near and dear to our hearts, as nothing else could be. And so I will remain here, singing of your great deeds, those that have come to pass, and those that are yet a dream, and together we will tell a tale that will live on long after we are gone. Now, the time has come for this vision to end, time for your eyes to open from this waking dream. In truth, there are others who have messages they wish to share with you. But do not worry, we shall find a way. Ever will we be watching over you. Guide the realm unto peace and happiness, warrior of darkness, till next we meet. What a song! Why, that has to be the most mellifluous moving composition that I've ever heard. You've outdone yourself this time, my minstrel friend. Why, I'd best get back to the Herald and put pen to parchment before I go forgetting the words. Be seeing you, friend, and tell Pobiano the greatest Gads and Limsa sends his regards. The calamity took much from us, but Eorzea rose from the rubble and ashes to stand as strong today as ever she has. And to you, whose courage and devotion will see our realm to an even brighter tomorrow, I dedicate this song. O hero of rebirth, traversing, heal you this scarred land, lay bare cloistered truths, and tame the skies, let azure guide your hand. O hero of rebirth traversing, break you the tyrant's bonds, embrace your sin and chase the light, to darkness a world will dawn. When the calamity razed this land, the Eorzea we once knew was lost to us forever. And yet the realm as it once was lives on to this day in the hearts of those who call it home. So it is that in this season of remembrance my thoughts turn to those who are with us no more and to the world that they left behind. For it is truly knowing and understanding our past that allows us to stride confidently toward our future. Costa. Oh, there you are. I was wondering when you'd be back. Was Bran able to help you puzzle out the meaning of that ominous missive? A years-old message to warn the people of the 7th Umbral calamity. You say? Phew. And here I was worried you were facing our impending doom all over again. At any rate, I owe you something for going above and beyond the call of duty for me today. This might not be much, but please take it with the most sincere gratitude. Seasonal event complete. Speaking of which, it's the strangest thing. Ever since we left, we've had more and more of those bottles come floating in with the tide. I am pleased to say that this time the words are not ominous at the least, and judging from the penmanship, it would seem that they come from a variety of senders. Yes, messages in bottles seem to be all the rage these days, which would be all well and good if I weren't stuck with the task of keeping these stands shiny and spotless. Which gives me an idea. If you're curious about the contents of the letters, perhaps you'd be willing to help me pick a few of them up. I'll even throw in a token provided by the festival authorities for each bottle you bring to me. What are the tokens good for, you ask? Why, they can be exchanged for a veritable bounty of simply delightful seasonal goods with the rising vendor. Take my word for it. It'll be more than worth your while. Alright. Messages from distant shores. After all you've already done, you're still willing to lend poor Pobiano a helping hand. You truly are a saint, or perhaps you're just curious to find out what all these letters say. I couldn't blame you for that. Anyhow, with how many of them are washing in these days, I don't suppose they'll be too hard to find. Bring back to me what you found, and I'll open them right up. My nails are quite suited for the task, mind you, so you can read the message at your leisure. Whistle. And back this way. Is that a message in a bottle I see in your hands, or are you just happy to see me? Whoa, lady. Splendid. For doing your part to clean up the beach, I'm more than happy to furnish you with this spiffy, shiny, absolutely official Rising token. You'll hold on to it and acquire even more, if you can, so that you can exchange them for any of the wide array of exclusive festival goods and accessories available from our vendor. 10. Where's the vendor? In the meantime, why don't you take the letter and find a quiet spot around here to read it? I imagine that gazing up at the fireworks over the sea would do an excellent job of setting the scene. Whoever wrote this, and wherever they are, no doubt they want nothing more than their words to reach an adventurer like you. Small bottle, letter 3. The other day at the Aetheryte Plaza, I happened upon a minstrel cheerfully strumming a tune before an admiring crowd of adventurers and townspeople. Impromptu concerts like these have been happening more and more of late, and I dare say nothing fills our hearts with joy quite like seeing people of all ages, backgrounds, and walks of life bonding over a love of music. To all the talented composers and instrumentalists out there, we thank you for providing a soundtrack to stir our own hearts. We hope that the music of Eorzea has served to render your adventures even richer and more memorable. Ever in harmony with you, a humble instrument maker. It's cute. I didn't read that. Sorry. It's a book. Medium bottle letter 4. Or rather, 6. Right? A tale is not complete the instant the author pens the final word. No, it is not until the reader then takes the tome in hand, and the words enter their eyes, their heart, only then does the story told in those pages truly come to life. One could say that you are not the only protagonist of this grand tale of adventure, but also, in a sense, one of its authors. Your thoughts, your decisions, your actions all serve to dictate the course of the story, and so we hope that you will continue to enjoy with all your heart your adventures here. May you ever continue to breathe life into this world. Sincerely, a teller of tales. Oh. Ruben. No, not Ruben. Letter 2. It feels like only yesterday that the vows sworn on the shores of Silvertear Lake marked the beginning of the 7th astral era. You may not remember me, but I was there alongside you, well, figuratively speaking, as we launched the attack on the Praetorium. I'll never forget the way you cut through the Imperial lines like a hot knife through butter. My unit would have been slaughtered if you hadn't arrived when you did. I was sent back to my hometown to recover from my wounds, but I wish I could have thanked you in person. Still, I'm grateful for the chance to see my family again. I would have you know that they appreciate your heroic deeds every bit as much as I do. Your comrade in arms, a fellow Grand Company soldier. A Moogle this time. Small bottle letter 1. How quickly the years have flown by since we first set up that message board on an unassuming street corner. Seeing the many and myriad words written there each day never fails to fill our hearts with joy and gratitude. Perhaps most enjoyable to all to read are the announcements of various festivities organized by adventurers, gatherings of fellow clansmen, adventurous journeys to far-flung lands, and all sorts of delightful events. We tip our caps to the passionate adventurers who pour their heart and soul into organizing these outings. One might liken them to a lodestone, drawing people in and bringing like minds together, wherever they go. Finally, we would express our thanks to all of you who take the time to keep diaries of your journals. It is a pleasure and an honor both to have the privilege of sharing in your adventures. With best wishes, the keepers of the message boards. They really want you to appreciate the letters of thanks for playing this game. Don't they? They make you sit down in a quiet spot and really listen. It is a different one. Letter 7. Hello, friend. Are you perchance enjoying the fireworks? You can be honest with me. After all, I'm just one of the humble artisans responsible for the show you saw today. To tell the truth, my colleagues and I are responsible for more than fireworks. Storms of pounding rain and bolts of lightning, auroras that dazzle in the sky, mystic lights, and the glowing of crystals. The lights and mists that you see upon the stage are all crafted by our hands. Fireworks are a fleeting thing, are they not? They dazzle the eye, move the heart, but in the next instant they turn to smoke, then fade and vanish without a trace. Think, just for a moment, of how it must feel to put one's heart and soul, and hours of blood, sweat, and tears into creating something that lasts but an instant. But please do not misunderstand. We say this not out of bitterness, but with honor and pride, for nothing gives us greater pleasure than to know that our humble efforts have, even in the smallest of ways, helped your star shine all the brighter. and know that we will continue to pour all of our inspiration and imagination into illuminating your grand stage. Yours in obscurity, a humble artisan. Wow, guys. It's very pretty. Thank you for making FF14 very colorful and enjoyable for us to walk through. Letter 1. Fledgling adventurer, pray this message finds you well. Though your journey has just begun, I sense you'll yet make a name for yourself. We must all start somewhere, as I once did. And though not every avenue will lead to fame and glory, I have faith in you. Wherever your travels may lead, always remember this, you are not alone. When you stumble, there are those who would catch you. When you lose your way, there are those that would guide you back to your path. Perhaps someday, you'll be the one taking the lead, showing others how it's done. Until then, keep fighting the good fight, and may good fortune befall you. Yours, a fellow adventurer. Wow. Letter 4 of the Small Bottles. I still remember the day, fresh off the boat. After a long voyage across the ruby sea, I strode into the gleaming gold saucer. I found an open space in one of the parlors, set up my table, and began to stack my tiles atop it. Anxiety gripped me to the depths of my body and soul, but if Eorzeans had no interest in the domain diversions I sought to provide, would my long journey prove to be for naught? Fortunately, my worries soon melted away. Within hours, the Manderville tables were teeming with visitors, locals and travelers from far abroad alike, each more eager than the next to try their hand at the time-honored game of mahjong. I tried mahjong, it's confusing. I don't know how to play it, in other words. I am no mighty adventurer, and there is only so much I can do for this realm, and so I hope that, in some small way, the game I teach can serve to lighten adventurers' days, and relieve them from many burdens they bear, until you meet at the tables, an anonymous mahjong tutor. Large bottle, letter 5. I snuck this letter on board a certain apparatus for sent hurtling backwards through time and space. As it wasn't accounted for on the storage log, I could begin to calculate where and when it will eventually arrive. Even if I were to succeed in sending it centuries in the past, the odds that it will safely reach the hands of that hero of legend were infinitesimal at best, and yet the chance is not zero. And it is in a remote possibility that I place my hopes. My ancestor, the first of the name I now proudly bear, once told me that the hero he befriended was, for all of her many talents, above all, a woman possessed of great fortune, fortune that suggested that the 12 themselves truly did smile upon her. In that sense, it's not unreasonable to expect that it is indeed you who is reading my words today, and so I say thank you, my friend. Thank you for saving our past and giving us hope for a brighter future. And above all, please look after him, won't you? Yours, Biggs, third of his name, 18th President of Garland Ironworks. This is a new one. Letter 4 of the large bottle. I'd been a member of the Resistance for years, and not that we ever had much luck against the Garleans. It felt like we went from one defeat to the next, our numbers growing smaller each time. But that all changed when you and the Alliance arrived. Your brave deeds turned the tide, not only here in Alamigo, but all the way over in Doma. From what I've heard, I'll bet those Imperials hardly knew what hit them. Even though the fighting here has come to an end, we face a hard road ahead. We'll need to band together as never before if we're to heal the wounds inflicted upon our lands by the Garleans. And yet we have faith. After all, it's you and your comrades who have given us this chance. We'll be damned if we let it go to waste. You have our gratitude, hero. Ever your comrade on the battlefield, a former fighter of the resistance. Okay, so how did they all know I would get these letters? It sounds like years ago. Letter 2. We hear that these days it's all the rage of adventurers to gather in small groups and paint portraits of themselves striking stylish poses. As humble art supply provisioners, all we can do is provide the canvas, the palette, the paint, and the brush by which such works of art can be crafted. We realize there's much we still must do to allow adventurers to fully realize their aesthetic visions. And yet, seeing the masterworks we are already creating each day instills us with pride and the passion to continue pursuing our craft. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for allowing us to take part in this creative collaboration and look forward to providing you with yet more materials to add to your artist workshop in the future. Wishing you eternal inspiration, the art provisioners of Eorzea. A little bird tells me that Eorzea is a land where many a bard and minstrel plies their trade. Oh, what I would not give to visit that far-off land and hear their strummings with my own ears. Such is the vain dream I hold in my heart each day as I sit in this dark room, pounding away against a great machine of levels, dials, and linking lights. Countless sounds have been given life in this cold, dank place. Perhaps you have paid special heed to them, but doubtless many of you have not. There is no shame in this. On the contrary, this is proof that they have formed part of the natural fabric of this world. And yet, at some point in your adventures, if you could pause for even a fleeting moment to take in all the sounds of the living world around you, nothing would give us greater pleasure. In gratitude, an artisan of acoustics. The rising vendor is right next to Pabiana if there's a bunch of people standing on there. Welcome, we've assembled a veritable host of exclusive seasonal goods for any and all adventurers who are willing to lend us a hand in cleaning up the beach. Should you have any tokens on hand, I encourage you to peruse our wares. I have a ton. So, we have the poster Liberation, it's 5. Legend Returns. Evalician Legend, old and new. Rise of the New Sun. Under the Moonlight. Prelude in the Violet. I am sure I have somewhere on my walls to show all these off. Requiem for Heroes. And Firecrackers. Realm Reborn Red. Magic Prism, Meteor Survivor, Heaven's Cracker, Meteor Shower, and Flowers. And these are all, the flowers are pretty. That's it. I can buy wallpaper with the amount of tokens I have. So if you want to do just, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, you only need to do this 3 times. That's it. I've done this a lot of times. I'm trying to get all the letters for you. And so far I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 letters. Alright, so I'm giving up here. I found in the small letters 1, 2, 3, 4, in the medium letters letter 2, 6, and 7, and large letters 1, 2, 4, 5. And that's missing stuff, so it's bothering me. You only need to do 3, but if you find any others, let me know. I believe that concludes this Rising Festival. Alright, I wanted to show you what these actually look like in a house. I have some wall space up here. Let's get to the housing tab. Alright, this is Liberation. I'll put that right here. I like the colored ones. And this is The Legend Returns. Over here. That's about as good as I'm gonna get right there. Let's see. This is Rise of a New Sun. Hey! These are wide ones. This is Under the Moonlight. Let's just stick it over on top of the other one for now. Well, we can put it over here. And this is Prelude in Violet. I'm short. Prelude in Violet. Look, he's just one of the gang. The last one, Requiem for Heroes. Which is your favorite? No. It's actually a tough one. This one's probably my favorite, but it's a little depressing. Let's see. I think this one. And Ishtola. Does anyone need any tokens? There we go. Nope. There we go. I doubt she does anything. She's not really moving, is she? Let's force her to move a little bit. Solemn as ever. Little tail. Should pick you up. See her between my macros. So you could potentially use this as wallpaper, you know? Get 1,000 of them. Since I have all the tokens, I just make a whole wall of them. Alright. Now that concludes the Rising festivities.